we have come to terms with the declining interest rates in response to declining returns from the sources where the fund managers are investing our money. But tell me, why some money market funds today have hit the bottom in their returns such that they are giving us net returns that are lower than the market interest rate? We have 8 money market funds that today are giving us a single digit net return, while at the top we have 4 money market funds that are giving us a net return of above 12%, including other 2 digital money market funds. The other about 22 money market funds to give us about the 37 total registered money market funds by the regulator are in the region between net 10% to 11.9%. We will look at some specific parameters that we need to be looking at, and the fact that it's important to keep on evaluating existing investments to keep them in line with our personal investment policy, which is our reference point in determining acceptable investment options on the basis of the terms of our individual investment policies. There is a difference between security and protection when it comes to investment. Security is protecting our money against actual loss of the capital, including physical loss. And this also includes eroding that capital by poor performance of the investment vehicle. On the other side, we have a protection of our capital, which is guarding our invested capital against erosion of the purchasing power or value because of inflation. Security on your capital or invested capital mainly will depend on the risk categorization of the product or the investment vehicle. And a money market fund is secure. It protects our capital and leaves little to no chance of loss of capital because of the regulated and available assets for investment. On the other side, on protection, guarding against loss of value or purchasing power depends on the rate of return that this product is giving you as an investor compared with the inflation rate. On top of that, we also need to look at the existing market interest rate vis-a-vis the return that we are getting from the investment vehicle, because it will not make a lot of sense where flexibility and liquidity of the product allow me to access my funds and maximize on their returns when the net market interest rate is higher than the net return that I'm getting from the investment vehicle. It's only prudent for me as an investor to look for a modality of getting access to a higher return, and that is exercising flexibility that is given to an investor when you are accessing the traditional unit trust investment vehicles. We shall be looking at 4 parameters or important aspects that we need to know about reviewing our current investments in the money market funds or the traditional in unit trust investment platforms after the 3-second short break. So don't go away. In the meantime, as always, give a like to this video. Let's engage in the comment section and don't forget to share the video. If you are new to the channel, give us your subscription and don't forget to hit the notification button because the channel commits to give you a minimum of 3 value-packed videos every other week, and YouTube will be sending you a notification when we do so. See you after 3 seconds short break. So welcome back and thank you for staying. The first thing that is very important that we need to look at this time, we need to look at the market itself. And these 2 parameters are very important in gauging the market. And the first one is the market inflation rate. As per this schedule, the market inflation rate remains at 3.5%. And remember, the Kenyan market inflation is always in the range of 2.5% to 7.5% normal range as posted by the central bank. At 3.5% inflation, that means we are the middle of the normal range, but this does not give us the actual inflation as depicted by the market. When you go out to spend your money, the increase in prices of commodities is not fully reflected by the 3%. So it's normal and prudent for an investor to take an inflation rate slightly higher than what has been posted by CBK as the market regulator. So taking a figure of about 5%, 6% as the actual inflation rate, that is what you need now to use to compare with the return that we are getting from the specific money market fund or your money market fund. Then consider whether your invested capital is protected enough against inflation. And on top of that, you also look at the balance of rate that goes to grow your capital. You need to get the annualized rate of return of your money market fund and adjust for withholding tax at 15%. Then the figure that will remain, adjust that one for the inflation or deduct the actual inflation rate with a minimum of the 3.5% that is given by central bank. But as we have indicated, prudently use a figure slightly above that 5% or 6%. That is the cushion against the if negative effect on inflation on your invested capital that protects your purchasing power in future. And the protection here is that is the rate by which your capital will grow annually so that you are able to meet the future prices after the increases due to inflation. Then the rate that remain after deducting the inflation rate from the net return after adjusting for tax, that is what now goes to increase or grow your capital as an investment. The other item, the second item, is the market interest rate. And the market interest rate is posted by the 364 Treasury bill auction. So going by this schedule of the Treasury bill auction, the current market interest rate stands at 10.4736%. And that is the return that is posted out of the auction of the 364-day Treasury bill. If you adjust that return for a withholding tax at 15%, then we are getting a net market return of 8.9%. That is a figure that I want us to compare with the current net returns that we are getting from the money market funds. And you realize that we have money market funds that today are posting a net return that is way below the market interest rate. While the money market funds as investment vehicles and because of their nature are suitable for holding our emergency funds, the least expected is we need to be getting a return that is slightly higher or equal to the prevailing market interest rate. If it holds true that money market funds do respond to changes in the market interest rate, and as a matter of fact, money market funds being sensitive and responsive to changes in the interest rates that are posted by the Treasury bills. A good example is equity money market fund, which today is giving a net return of about 5.6%, which is way below the market interest rate. Another one is the money market fund, which has broken many records in the money market fund categories by posting very high returns and all of a sudden tipping to the bottom and now giving us a 7% that is again below the net market interest rate of 8.9%. while as a channel, that is an observation that we have made, and money market funds being investment vehicles that have liquidity and flexibility as one of their attributes, then that is a benefit to the investor who is willing to commute their investments from platforms that are not giving them good returns to platforms that ably are giving them will give them better returns and possibly help them grow their capital to achieve or to realize their goals. Another very important thing to consider and very important is momentum on investments. While we may focus a lot on the rate of return as posted by the investment vehicles, and in this case, the traditional collective investment schemes, where money market fund is just a good example because the other is a fixed income fund. We have equity funds and balanced funds. The rate of return given by the fund manager may look good, but what determines the actual amounts that you get as returns is the amount of capital that you have invested as an investor, is the amount of capital that you have invested. And the ability for that investment to give you higher returns will be based on the increased amount of capital that you have injected in that investment. And that is what we are calling momentum. The actual return that you are getting is a product of the rate that the fund manager is giving or the investment vehicle is giving applied to the object or the varying object, which is your capital. So the more you increase your capital, keeping accumulating and increasing the amount of capital that you have put in a particular investment vehicle goes to increase the amounts of returns that you are getting. And by allowing compounding to take place, reinvesting the returns that you are getting from that investment, you will hit a point at which the return that you are getting from the investment annualized will be more than the amounts that you have been putting towards that investment. And that is the point at which you will have broken even and your money will be working harder than you. Until you hit such a point where your money is working more or harder than you need to keep piling your investment. You need to keep increasing your investment. And by applying specific rules, and a good example, the 72 rule, the 4 rule, you are able to determine how long it takes for you or how long your investment is supposed to take to double the amount that you have so far invested. But that aside, the most important thing is your responsibility in increasing the amount of capital that you're putting towards your investment until you hit such a point where the total return that you are getting from the investment equals or is greater than the total amount that you put towards that investment in a year. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.